finished product. There are times that God will just give you a seed. Why have you made yourself a visitor in the presence of God? You need to become a permanent resident, and never you take a vacation from His presence. There are people that God has gone ahead of you to plant to help you to get to where you're going. Some of them, they are not voluntary destiny helpers, but the Lord has planted them to lift you up. But in that same Genesis, we saw sin happen for the first time. What was the sin of Adam? The sin of Adam was disobedience. The Lord had instructed them and say, hey, don't eat this fruit. And if you do, you die. The Lord gave him a clear instruction, and the Lord told him the consequences of sinning. But some way, somehow, the wife fell, and she decided to serve the destiny-destroying meal to her husband, and of course he swallowed it, and the Lord was displeased. We also saw Cain sinned in Genesis chapter 4. He decided to kill his brother. First of all, he offered the wrong offering, and of course he wasn't happy because his offering wasn't accepted, and he went on to murder. So I mean, let's start by defining sin first. What is sin? What is sin? Again, people would argue with you and say, yeah, but the 10 Commandments are part of the law. The Lord has come, Jesus has come to abolish the law. Why are we still following the 10 Commandments? You know, why aren't we just doing whatever we want? And I know there's a major movement here in this country, and we've had some of them be part of this church, you know, who believe that now that you're born again, you cannot sin. So no matter what they've done, they don't call it sin because they've been saved by grace. And therefore, there is no more sin. They cannot sin anymore. Despite the fact that they do something that is obviously wrong, they believe it's not a sin because you only ask for forgiveness one time. That's their doctrine. That's how they've been taught. And of course, they're wrong. They're wrong. Let's read James chapter 4, verse 17. In James chapter 4, verse 17, the Bible tells us what is sin. In James chapter 4, verse 17, it says there clearly, if anyone then knows the good they ought to do and does not do it, it is what? It is sin for, not for everybody, it is sin for them. That's the Bible, brethren. This is not your pastor coming up with this definition. So if you know what you're supposed to do and you refuse to do it, it is sin. So in other words, there are some things that may be sin for you, and if your brother does the same thing, it's not a sin. If God has called you to go to Nineveh and you refuse to go to Joppa, then when you go to Joppa, it is a sin for you. Whereas some people live in Joppa, they were born there, they've always been there. It doesn't make them a sinner. So when you know what to do, and God has taught you what to do, and you are not doing it, it is a sin. Are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Or we're already sleeping?
No, sir.
And the problem with some of us is this. When we do wrong, we don't handle it right. When you do wrong, you don't handle it right. Even Adam. When Adam sinned, Adam could have said, God, I'm sorry.